grew up with a single mom. I have vague memories of my father. He was 15 and my mom was 17 when they had me. My dad was a gang member. He was in and out of our lives. Me and my mom moved to my grandma's house when I was probably about the age of 4. So I got to spend a lot of time with my grandmother, and she'd take me to church twice a week, and she'd teach me scriptures daily. She just wanted to, plant the seed in me, try to teach me how to love. And she called me one day, and I think it was around February, and I was just so happy to get a phone call from my grandmother, and I answered the phone. I'm just calling you because I was just thinking about you, son, and I wanted you to know about this story that I read, and I think it kind of applies to you. It's called Job. And I go, oh, okay, well, when I get busted, when I'm in jail, I'll check it out. That's the only time I read anything. And she goes, well, just remember, it's called Job. Somebody in there will know that book. It's pretty popular. Started using drugs at the age of 13. About the age of 15, I started causing problems between my mother and her husband. Be a lot of fighting between me and him. With him being a Hell's Angel member, he wasn't going to have a kid disrespect him in his house. So he told me to kick rocks, and pretty much I was happy to pack my bags and leave. I was about 18, that's when I started going to jail. I was just in and out of jail, eventually graduating to prison. But my grandmother would be there every weekend on visitation day, make sure that I would hear the word, even though I didn't want to hear it. I still had this hatred towards everybody. It didn't matter about race. I just hated you just to hate. Eventually, I got myself in this situation where I had burned a drug dealer. He caught up to me eventually, and I was held captivated in this house for 3 days. And they took what they could from me. They took my vehicle. It wasn't enough. They wanted more. They wanted money. I didn't have money, and pretty much they're going to kill me that day. And they're just trying to plot it out, see what they're going to do. And I just looked up to the sky and I said, God, if you help me out of this one, I'll turn to the Lord. When it came time to come to do whatever they're going to do to me, they were like trembling, and they ran off one by one. So I kept to my word, and I went to a men's Christian home, and I stayed there for 90 days. But I thought I knew what I was doing. I thought it'd be okay. So I left the home. I went back to my ways. I backslid and got heavily back into drugs. That's about the time I met Roger Slater. And at the end of the day, he offered me a ride home. And I was like, man, what's this guy deal, man? He just won't leave me alone. I told him nicely twice, hey, just back off, dude, leave me alone. And he was like, hey, man, I'm just trying to invite you over for some coffee to get to know you. And I whipped out my knife on him. I was like, I ain't playing around, man. I'm gonna stab you, bro. Just leave me alone, get out of here. And this man didn't understand what he said or what he did. He was just trying to figure it out. But again, I was so full of hate. I hated that he was being so nice to me. So about a month later, I bumped into Roger again, and he gave me a Bible. And right away, I threw it away. I tossed it. And then I started working for Roger full time. And Roger, he gave me another Bible. This time, I put it in my room. I put it on a shelf. And it just sat there collecting dust. And one day, I was exhausted. I was defeated. I was just done with drugs. I tired of trying to feed this bottomless pit that could never be fulfilled. I was ashamed of my own sin. I was depressed that I lost my children, and I was just I was defeated. I was done. The day at work, this man went up to Roger and told him about Job. And I was at home. I was ready just to end my life. And I remember that man saying something about Job, and then I remember in the back of my head, my grandma saying something about Job. And I go, oh, it's in the Bible. And so I unwrapped that Bible and I opened it up. And I started reading Job, and it just broke me down. Just started broken down crying, like how a man lost everything, his whole family, and he wasn't cursing God. And so, the following day, I threw away all my drugs and paraphernalia, and I just tossed it. And I just started talking to Roger, started talking to him about asking him questions. And here I am, I'm reading the Bible every day, just absorbing all the wisdom. And I'm just blessed right now. I'm so happy. I'm just so joyful that I finally like accepting love, and my deception of love was twisted before, but I see the real meaning of love, and it's just awesome.